In this training, we're going to go to the next step and we're going to actually create the form and customize the form so it's ready to share as a standalone. Now, remember, we're going to show you in your funnels and website building that you can add forms to any funnel or website, but in many cases, sharing your form will be enough. And so we're going to show you how to do that. Before we get into the form, I want you to understand it's really important to stay organized when you're building forms. And in the last training, we showed you how to build custom fields, but we want to show you where those custom fields are at. So before we go into the form, which you see we're on the form builder now, we're going to click on settings, and then we're going to scroll down to custom fields. And if you remember, under folders, we're going to start. If you remember last time, we had the choice of where to place our forms, and we chose in the general info section, and we created the training automations field. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete this field now. And I'm going to go back into all folders. And what I want you to understand, and I believe we showed this in our contacts, but I want to show it to you again, is that for each folder you create, when you go into contacts, those folders are going to show up inside of these groups here. So you're going to see contact, general info, additional info, and then we have this special compliance folder here. This is important to understand. So as you're building out your forms and your custom fields, you know that you can create entire folders that will then show up in special spots for the contacts. So we're going to do that here. We're going to go into settings. We're going to go into custom fields, and we're going to build a training for people who want training on forms. So we're going to start by going into folders. We're going to add a new folder, and this we're going to call business interest. So this is the contacts business interest things, business interest. What are they interested in? Okay. Now you don't have to do this every time. Sometimes you just do this under additional info, but I'm just showing you this as the example. All right, now that we've got business interests, I could come in here and I could create all of my fields right here, and they would show up under my custom fields. Or I can go into folders, into forms, so sites, forms, etc. Go into our form builder, click on form 7, which was the form we started last time. I didn't save it, so it kept the form 7, and we're going to call this our forms training. Okay. These are going to be for all people that are interested in forms training. Now, for me, I've decided I don't care about their first name and their last name. I'm going to give them the option to just give me their full name. And I'm actually not even going to require that they give me their email address or their phone number. I am going to update this. I consent to receive messages and notifications, alerts from Social Connector. So you just want to customize this for you. If you know how often you're going to send messages, you can say that. This won't matter. Message and data rates may apply. And I'm going to go ahead and say you can reply stop at any time. And we're going to click save for our terms and conditions here. And for me, I'm actually going to drop this down below, and I'm actually going to get rid of our text here that we have with terms and conditions. I'm going to get rid of that. Click save. Now, I want to know what kind of business a person's interested in. So I'm going to go into custom fields, and I'm going to click add a field. And I would say, let's start with a radio select. And I'm going to ask the question, primary interest. What is this person primarily interested in? And we're going to put this under business interest. Remember we created that folder? There it is now. And we're going to type in, I'm interested in digital marketing. I'm interested in network marketing, social marketing, master resell, rights, and I'm interested in private label rights. And I think just for fun, I'm going to change this to, we're actually going to change this to affiliate marketing. And we're going to change this to PLR and MRR selling. Okay. Great. So now I'm not going to do any images. You could do images and those will show up. I'm not going to do those. We're going to click save. Give it a few seconds and that folder is going to show up for us. And when it does, we're going to click here. We're going to click primary interest. We're going to drag it over. Now, I'm going to show you, first of all, primary interest doesn't mean anything to them. I like to keep a short form field for me, but now what I can do, since we're talking about customizing things, see, I'm going to move this around, you just drag and drop. I'm actually going to select primary interest, and I'm going to change the label. Please know this does not change the field label. It just changes it on your form, which is very nice. So I'm going to say, what marketing type are you most interested in? Because I'm only going to let them choose one. Okay, period. And let's say that's all I wanted. I could come through and create lots of questions and all sorts of things, but that's the only one I wanted. Now we do want to just say button. I don't like the word button. I'm just not going to use that. So now that we have everything we need, we have their full name, we have their email, and we have their phone, I want to begin to customize. So the first thing is I'm going to say, get your training instead of, or we'll say submit to get access, right? So we'll do that. And for me, I don't like the background color there. At Social Connector, we have very specific colors, so I'm going to choose one of my colors. Okay. And I am also got very specific fonts, so I'm going to choose my font. I'm going to scroll down here to the font itself. I'm going to change that. And I want it to be a little bit bigger, so I'll change it to 22. There we go. And now we have that. Well, but you know also what else I don't like? I don't like that the way that this is all situated. So what I want to do is put into columns to make it an even smaller field. So now we're going to talk about really formatting and customizing the look of our form. Because would you really want to share this form with someone? No. So we're going to format and customize the entire look. So let's start with the most basics. I'm going to click over here on our styles and options. And we have lots of different ways we can create our form. If you're doing just like an email, like subscribe to my email list and you want to put that on your website, you might want to use a single line. Now, if we do that here, it's not going to look good. But if I just have my name and email, a single line form is great. Single column looks like this. Multi-column, two column can look like this, but don't worry, we can adjust this. Okay, and even within here, we can actually make some adjustments here, and I'll show you that in a second. The next thing you have options to is you want to change your input style. Right now it's box input. You can change it to line input. And we do it just like this. I'm going to leave it at box for this. And now we can change everything about it. If you're going to be putting this on a site that you already have, you might want to change the background because you don't want a white background to show up. So you can change this and make it completely see-through. Okay. For us, I'm going to leave it white. You notice that you can have a border around it. So right now our border is white. And maybe I just want to change it to maybe that darker black. I'll use our black at Social Connector, which is that black. And let's make it a little bit more thicker. There we go. And maybe I want to make it rounded a little bit more. So I'm going to change the corner radius to 20. And now I've got a more of a rounded form. See our form starting to come together there. And you can change all kinds of things. So right now the padding, which is the space at the top here, is 30. Maybe I just want to set that to 0. Set that to 0, make it closer. And we have no padding on the bottom. Left and right, we've got 40 here and here. I'm going to leave that because I like that space. You can go through and change everything. You can change the distance in your shadow. So I can make my shadow a little darker, and I can make the horizontal. Let's make the horizontal 3, and now you see how it comes out a little bit. We can make the spread a little bit bigger, so we can make the spread 2 or even bigger just so you see the difference. Make it 5. I'm going to leave it at 0. I like it just like that. So now we've got this nice form. It's looking good. And so on and so forth. But again, remember, maybe I don't like the way this looks here. So what I can do is I can actually spread this to columns. So I can simply turn on spread to columns. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's change this to 5. And now you'll see I've got it set into 5 columns just like this. I can also change this to 3 columns and it'll kind of put it into 3 column rows. So I like that. I think that looks really good for what we're doing. So I'm going to do that. We can set our column to be required. And now it gives us an asterisk here. And now we've got this nice looking form, but I still wouldn't want to share this. And so what if I want to customize the whole look of the form? Let me show you how to do that. I've got some graphics that are ready for you. So if I don't like this, I'm going to send this as a whole page. I should have some kind of graphical or color element behind me. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to open up our styles and options. Okay. And down here at the bottom, you're going to see we have background image and we have header image. I'm going to click on background image now. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to give you this form example. We're doing a forms training here, so we should add a really cool image of a form. So we're going to add that. It takes a second for it to load. So there you go. So now we've got this really cool image of a form. But even there, it's like, I want a little bit more. And since this is all a part of Business in a Box, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add a header image on the top here. So we're going to click right here. We're going to click add a header image. I'm going to come back in here. And this is a part of our automations course. So I'm going to add this. And just like that, we've got this. Now, for me, I don't really like how this sits on top. So, I might not use that. So instead, what I'll do is I'll clear this and I'll come in and I'll go into our quick add and I'll just add an image at the very top of the form. Choose my file. I'm going to choose that same thing. Now I've got this great image here. I can change the width if I wanted to. It's never going to go past what our rules are. So here's our rules that we have set for the image. Remember, everything's 40 and 40. But now I've got this great image here. It's all part of the automation mastery. And normally I would say have your image be the thing that explains what the form is, right? So you create an image in Canva that tells you what the form is. That's awesome. But since we don't have that here, I'm just going to click add text. Okay. And I'm going to talk about the Business in a Box forms training. Okay. And then I'm just going to give it some formatting. So I like, again, Poppins is my font. I feel like it's a little bit too big. So let's make it 22 and probably make the whole thing bold. Okay. And then let's center it up. So we're going to center it up here. And now we've got this, look at this form. It's a beautiful form. So we've been able to format it, everything. Did all this while I'm explaining it to you in under 15 minutes. Did the whole thing. We're going to click save. And now I'm ready to share this form. I could literally share it. The one thing we have to know is what do we want it to do when they share it? And I'll show you this when you share it. When someone fills this out, what do you want to have happen? Now, in our automations training, we're going to teach you how to set up complete automations for your forms. But here, what are our options? When someone fills out the form, you can do a message. So right here, we could say, thank you so much. Look for an email with your forms training. And we'll put social connector. So we'll do info at social connector, right? So that's where we would give them the training. So it could be this simple, could be a simple message right here. Or maybe you're sending them something. Maybe you're sending them to your Facebook group, and this is how they get access to your Facebook group. That's awesome. So you're going to, instead of doing a message, you could do open a URL. And then you just put in the URL you want. So it'd be your Facebook group, right? And then that's our Facebook group. So you could do that as well. Let me explain this to you. If you're using forms on your funnels in the future, one of the things you'll want to do is add a sticky contact. What that means, and you can see right here what it means, it basically means it will always remember this contact from this computer. So when they fill out your form or when they go to another page that has a form, it's going to automatically insert their information. That can be really helpful. Okay, and so now we've got this. We're going to click save. How do we share it? How do we share this form? It's actually very simple. First, you can preview the form here. So this is what your form looks like. Really nice, ready to go, easy form, okay? And then secondly, you can click the integrate button. When you click the integrate button, you have a couple options. You can embed this form into other sites that maybe you're using a WordPress site or something like that. You can embed it here. You don't need to use this embed code if you're going to work directly in our funnel or site builder, because we'll be able to add it as an element. So you can copy that embed code, and depending on what you've chosen, it will put the embed code correctly. or you can simply copy the link. Now you have a form ready to share. And all you have to do is open up a new tab, paste that link, and now your form will appear and it's ready to go. And that's how easy it is to fill out a form. Before I let you go, I want to show you what happens when someone does fill out your form at the most basic level without any automation. So I'm going to add this. Okay. And I consent, and I'm going to click submit. It's going to take me to our Facebook group, because remember, that's what we had it do. So it took me to our Facebook group, but I want to show you what's happening inside the system now. So if I come back out here, remember we have 3 different options here. We have analyze and submissions. I can now find that person who submitted the form. Simply, you can see all your submissions right here. So here's our most recent submissions. So I'm going to search by our forms training form. And here's the submission. It shows you all the information that they're interested in. Okay, it shows you all of that. Okay, now if I go to this contact, I can click there to automatically take me to the contact. If I look here under business interests, we'll see, excuse me, I have to refresh. Sometimes it doesn't show up right away. I apologize. It hadn't refreshed, so I refreshed it. And now business interests, there you go. It shows you the primary interest, digital marketing. Okay. And so now I have got that information. All of this is saved right inside of the contacts information. And that's just the beginning of what you can do. We'll show you in automations even more advanced things you can do. So that is how you really build out and customize a form ready to share with anybody for whatever